In this episode called Raising Your Vibration, we'll discuss things like walking the El Camino, meeting God in nature, raising your unconditional love through adversity, forgiveness, and transformational breathing, the Hawaiian health technique for you and your family. Now, here are some things for you to ponder. The vibration that you show up with affects every part of your life experience. Sometimes in life, we connect with parts of ourselves that feel so much like home that we forget to ask ourselves this very important question. Is this healthy? Enter the emotion sadness. It's a real emotion and it's beneficial just like all other emotions. However, we must know how to direct it so that it can be utilized for the good that it was created for. If you are feeling like there's something that is constantly drawing you downward, have a closer look at what you're focusing on. What is the meaning you attach to your focal points? Become aware of your language and internal dialogue, and you'll have a crystal clear picture about whether you are in a high or low vibe state. One thing is for certain. Building a healthy relationship with sadness is key to experiencing life fully. However, talking about the sad stuff often just makes it worse as it lowers your vibration and doesn't leave room for the other emotions to balance you out. So here's a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to take intentional action around raising your vibration. Look for the good in each moment. Look for the adventure. Look for the joy. Look for it because not only will you always find what you're looking for, you'll actually catch yourself creating the very good that you want most. Welcome to Weekly Wins and Losses. My name is James Hepner, former real estate entrepreneur turned self-development hacker, coach, and fulfillment strategist. Each week, we bring you a thought to wrestle with that'll help you live fully alive and gain more life. Real life is made up of both wins and losses. Both were designed for your good. That's basic reality. Without facing and learning how to embrace your losses for greater gain, you miss out. You leave 50% of your life experience on the table. So with that, let's begin the show. All right, friends, today we have on the show someone that is truly unique, a special human being. Kathleen Donnelly Israel walked the Camino Santiago. It's this place in northern Spain, 500 miles, and she did it at 70, and she did it again later on. Welcome to the show, Kathleen. Honor to you.
So happy to be here.
Absolutely. And by the way, just before we begin, listeners, if you're tuning in via audio, if you want to go to YouTube, catch a little look at Kathleen's earpiece. She's got a matching earpiece for her sweater. She asked me before the show, it's going to be recorded. I said, sure. Is it okay? She was sure. And she goes, well, would you like me to put on any lipstick? I said, no, you're fine. So she's coming in style today. Kathleen, yeah. Gosh, where do I begin? I read a bit about your story. And so many of us know your journey, but why don't you help all of the listeners who haven't ever heard of you or your journey? Maybe first begin by, what is the Camino Santiago? What is that? And why did you walk it? Or Camino, sorry.
Yeah, Camino. It's a pilgrimage to the grave of St. James. And St. James was an apostle of Jesus, way back. And he went to the Iberian Peninsula to tell people about Jesus, and he wasn't very good at it. He didn't get many people. So he went back to Jerusalem and they martyred him. And then somebody brought him back. Angels were involved, I'm sure, and buried him in Spain. And then in the 1200s, they were trying to get the Moors out of Spain, and St. James appeared and helped them in their battle, and they got the Moors out of Spain. And so then everybody really liked St. James. And so they went and found his grave, and they started having pilgrimages to his grave.
Wow.
And people in Europe we'll just walk out their front door and walk to Santiago. But like you can't do that from the USA. So I flew over there and started in the traditional place to start the French way of the pilgrimage is in Saint Jean Pied de Port. So I made my way over to Saint Jean and started my Camino. You're supposed to walk over the Pyrenees first thing, and there was snow on the Pyrenees, and it was against the law to go over the Pyrenees. So I had to walk around, but that was not
What's the
going around.
Pyrenees? Yeah, what's the Pyrenees?
The Pyrenees Mountains
Okay. Yeah.
in northern Spain. Yeah, I'm like not liking this thing here. I don't know what. There,
there you go. She's got it figured out.
So there it goes. So the Pyrenees Mountains, they're kind of people like, say that it's hard to walk over the Pyrenees. I've heard people, YouTube's about people talking about it. Yeah, it's hard. But I had to go around. And so I had to walk over these mountains that went like this instead of like this, and that wasn't easy either. And so the first night I stayed in Saint Jean, and actually I went to Paris first and stayed there for a week so I wouldn't have jet lag, when I started walking.
Sure.
So
yeah.
When I got to Saint Jean, I was ready to go. And other people maybe would stay maybe a couple of nights in Saint Jean, but I wanted to go.
You were ready to go.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
I've
had your
been here long
afterburners.
enough.
Yeah. Okay, so what had you? We all want to know what had you walk or decide to walk the Camino to begin with. Like, what was the reason? What was the purpose? Because again, when you land, you get there, you're one of the ones that wants to get out the door and just begin this thing. Like, where did this all come from? Like, what happened? I don't know. Share with us. Give us an insight. Share with us the origin story.
My husband was an athlete, and he got Parkinson's disease. I thought we'd be riding our bicycles across France in our old age. He loved the Peloton. I mean, we wouldn't go during the Peloton, but I mean, I think, doing that in the summer or something would have been really cool. And when he got sick, I was like, well, I guess we're not going to do that. And so I was taking care of him for like 17 years. And
Wow.
yeah, in 2013, my girlfriend went on the Camino and she put it on Facebook. And even though she, had blisters and walked with bloody feet, I just recognized she was doing something very special for herself. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to walk the Camino. And
so is your husband still with us, or he passed on?
No.
So you chose to start walking after his passing, or?
Yeah, I couldn't do it beforehand.
Right.
That's the thing about doing something like the Camino. You got to have a chunk of time. And I had to be there for him when he was still here.
I've read several pieces on people who walk the Camino and just the spiritual journey and what it requires. People going solo, people meeting other people on the path, helping people along the way. And of course, you hit all kinds of, and you just opened it up by bloody feet, blisters. There's all kinds. You hit threshold probably many a time. So talk to us a little bit about what your intentions were. So I would imagine you go and maybe you were kind of not sure what it was all going to be about. You perhaps you saw a challenge, bloody feet, and you thought, well, I'd sign up for this one, right? But then as you journeyed, you realized it became something a little bit deeper than that. Like, could you maybe share with us originally what you thought it was going to be, and then what did it turn out to be? And this is on your first walk, by the way.
So when my house was all full of my husband's stuff. And when I got rid of it, it made me sad. But when I kept it, it made me sad too. So
I thought what you're going to say is you took it all with you, and every mile you disposed of one piece.
It's like we have 5 kids. I mean, there's stuff here. And I think people should know that when you get old, your kids don't want your stuff. So, forget it. So I wanted a challenge. I used to walk with my friend down at San Diego Bay. I live in San Diego. We used to walk 5 miles 3 days a week, and it didn't even make me sweat. So I just thought, well, I can walk 5 miles before lunch, 5 miles after lunch. I can do this. And so that's what I did. As far as what you expect to get out of it, I just wanted an adventure.
Mm,
And I'm Catholic and I love my faith. I think
beautiful.
like maybe only 30% of the people who go are in my category. So I I wanted to do a pilgrimage,
Mm,
and my whole life has been holy. My
oh,
parents sent us to private school, Catholic school, and I got married in the church, and we did natural family planning and the whole bit to be, holy. We were a team couple for Marriage Encounter. I really like God,
mhm.
and so having it be a pilgrimage was lovely for me.
50
Yeah,
days. So you say 5 miles. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but you say 5 miles in the morning and five
right,
miles in the afternoon, right? So that's
right.
10 miles a day. And so my math would
Yeah,
say that's roughly 50 days per pilgrimage. Is it true? 50
right.
days. So when you consider
For
those
me,
50,
I'm an old lady.
I get
Other
it,
people, some people walk 35K a day.
right?
For gosh, not me,
Yeah.
but I mean, there are those people out there. And yeah, I started walking 10 miles in the morning, 5 miles in the morning, 5 miles at night. And then one day I got somewhere, I got done with the 10 miles and it was just lunchtime. And I was like, oh, I guess I better walk further. And so I kept walking. And so that after that, I could walk further. I think you get, but I mean, if you're going to walk 500 miles, you're going to get buff on the road. You're
Mm.
not going so
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'll share with you a little story. There's so many years ago. So I'm 46 now. I think I was 22 years old. And at the time I lived in this small community in southern Manitoba. So it's a province. Manitoba is a province in Canada, and it's directly north of North Dakota. And
ah,
it's middle of winter, and there's this little restaurant called Dairy Queen.
oh
And this
yeah, Dairy
couple,
Queen.
this yeah, have you heard of Dairy Queen?
Oh yeah,
Dairy
Dairy
Queen.
Queen.
Dairy Queen, right? And
Yeah.
so I went to Dairy Queen, and there's this lady who took my order, and I must have left a 20 or a 50 on the table, like by the till, and I didn't take it back with me. Like I gave her money, but I left extra money next to the till. And I was dating Meg. I've been with Meg now for 27 years, my wife. I've been married to her for 22. And so I called Dairy Queen, and the lady who picked up, it sounded like the same person who had served me. And I said, hey, listen, I'm looking for the old, or I said, yeah, I said, I'm looking for the old woman that served me at Dairy Queen. And she laughed. So when you
Oh
said I'm
no.
an old person, she laughed so hard. And then, so that was the day when I reframed. I no longer say old. So I'll just say it like this. Perhaps you're just a little older. And so she helped me that day. She helped me with, perhaps you want to like think things through before you say old, you're older. So there's this
Yeah.
older person. And by the way, you got tons of energy and we just love you. And thank you so much for showing up here all over again. It's beautiful. When you see people like you do these tasks, I think, or these journeys to discover God in a new way, in a deeper way. And, it gives us as younger generation, and I'm slightly younger than you. Like I say, I'm 46 and you're likely 48, 49, or maybe 75
I'm
by this time,
73. I'm only
73.
73.
Exactly.
I'm not 75 yet.
Okay, there you go. So there you go. I got a big apology. So exactly. So when I think about you going on this journey and really just listening, I would imagine there's tons of time to listen. Like one of the things that I just picked up in your journey is you did this alone. Now,
Yeah.
chances are you will have met people along the way, but I know you talk about things like not being afraid, you doing it by yourself. But people that have a faith, like you talk about God and you love God, you got God with you wherever you go. Wherever you go, you got a companion,
Mm.
he's right beside, he's in you, right? It's all over. And so, what did you experience about God that perhaps this pilgrimage really brought to the surface? Like maybe if you hadn't taken the journey of doing something consistently for 50 days, and I'm sure your feet, I don't know if they got bloody, but they probably got a little sore. Who did
Yeah.
who did God reveal himself, herself to be for you on that journey? And what kind of healing and forgiveness? And because I know you talk about those things. Well,
Right.
yeah, what happened?
Yeah, the beauty.
So when I think about you going on this journey and really just listening, I would imagine there's tons of time to listen. Like one of the things that I just picked up in your journey is you did this alone. Now,
Yeah.
chances are you will have met people along the way, but I know you talk about things like not being afraid, you doing it by yourself. But people that have a faith, like you talk about God and you love God, you got God with you wherever you go. Wherever you go, you got a companion,
Right.
he's right beside, he's in you, right? It's all over. And so, what did you experience about God that perhaps this pilgrimage really brought to the surface? Like maybe if you hadn't taken the journey of doing something consistently for 50 days, and I'm sure your feet, I don't know if they got bloody, but they probably got a little sore. Who did
Yeah.
who did God reveal himself, herself to be for you on that journey? And what kind of healing and forgiveness? And because I know you talk about those things. Well,
Right.
yeah, what happened?
Yeah, the beauty, the
Mm,
sheer beauty of being in that environment, walking through the forest primeval, you know, it's just so lovely to be there. And they're so varied. Like I the on the first day when I got out, I actually walked the wrong way for 4 kilometers. So I added 8 kilometers onto my first day. I
So
had to
perhaps
walk back.
you wanted to walk a little
Yeah.
longer. You weren't okay with
Yeah.
500. You like went backwards so you could do it.
So because I wasn't aware. Anyway,
Mhm.
just walking out, and the mountains that I was in were just so close to each other. Like and there were like a sheep grazing on this grass just on this really steep slope, and the trees up above, and there were trees below, because everything was just so close, and the greenery. I just felt like I was in I don't know, a green room, and I was just surrounded by such beauty. You know what, when I was a little girl, when somebody would say Mother Nature, I just translated that into God. I always did, even when I was small and nobody told me anything. Whenever they said Mother Nature, I said they're talking about God. And so I met God in nature on the Camino. Thank you for making me think about this, because I really hadn't thought about that. I had so much I don't know, so much love inside of me for everybody, and I've been working on that for a long time. While Ron was sick, I was working on creating some wellness in me, so that I could reach out and touch the wellness in other people. You know what I mean? So while I was taking care of Ron, I had to be home, and he was disabled, and so I went online and I did a lot of healing. For me personally, I had a really rough childhood. Most people do, I suppose, but anyway, yeah. And so I had post-traumatic stress disorder, and I just went online every night, and God led me to my teachers, to my healers. And I would, spend some money and buy the program, and then I'd do the program, and it'd kind of get kind of boring. And then God would send me another teacher, and I'd buy their little program, or maybe some of them gave them to you for free, and I just spent all those years healing myself. And so I felt like I had some stuff that I could share with people. And so when I would meet people and they would have a problem, I would maybe share something that I learned in my, I was taking care of Ron. And that was really, really cool to be able to do that, to be able to give, my healing to other people.
It's interesting. Yeah, thank you for that beautiful answer. When I think about trauma, I think about pain. There's a little song that I really love, and there's a line in the song, and it says, if you can't stand to feel the pain, you're senseless. And of course, everyone who knows the Jesus story knows that he went through some pretty intense pain.
Right.
And so when I think about,
we have that.
Yeah, right. We have that. And so I always find fascinating how when you stretch time, a person tends to discover the gift of why we had the experience that we did. So you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Right.
Sometimes we wonder, I know for me, we all struggle with different things. Sometimes I wonder for myself, like, gosh, why is this still here? Right. And so I have to remind myself, life isn't linear, life is circular. And that's the beauty of it. It just keeps going. It just regenerates and regenerates. And we keep coming back to kind of where we began, perhaps, and going deeper and deeper. And so if I connect pain and trauma and, oh gosh, the gift.
I have the answer.
Right. And so I haven't even asked, but you got the answer. So
I do.
Yeah, that's so nice.
I'm afraid you're not going to ask the right question.
Oh, so why don't you know what? You go first, because I was formulating and I was going to drop it in, but let's see, because I know what my question was. And so you are a mind reader. So perhaps you were on the pilgrimage and you tapped in. So here we go. The answer to the question that wasn't asked is, there you go. It's yours.
Yeah. So I came into this earth as a low vibrational spirit. God let me come in. And the reason why I wanted to raise my I had heard that if you come in as a person, as a human into the earth, you can raise your vibration. And that's why I came in the first place. And so the way you raise your vibration is through unconditional love. And you can't even do unconditional love unless you have adversity. It's easy to love the people who love us, but the people who thrash us, it's hard to love them. And so, so I learned how to, I learned that I attracted all this crap into my life with my low vibration. my vibration going out was bringing in stuff I did not like. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to not forgive them, well, I asked them in the first place, number one, with my low vibration. They were just doing what they do, you know? And so they came in, ruined my life. And so I personally do not feel that I need to forgive anyone anymore because I understand. I brought them in. I didn't, I didn't know it. I wish I had figured this out a long time ago so I could have had a happier life. But it's not too late, and so I just want to, we have to shore up our vibration that we're sending out. If we don't want to have a horrible life, we need to shore that up. And one way to do it is unconditional love. So basically loving the people who have hurt us. And number two, I used to think that my sad story was important, and I think anybody who sees somebody who has had a horrible life would not try to make them shut up about it. Maybe you need to talk, type of thing. But you know what? When we talk about the sad stuff, we make it more real than it is. The sad stuff is just showing you what you brought in with whatever vibration you're sending out. It's not even important that it's true. It's not even important that it actually happened, because it's just evidence of my vibration going out and bringing it in. So,
can I pause there for a second? So
yeah.
I find it. So by the way, yes, you answered well. My question was teeing up and you read it. And so thank you for that wisdom. I love it. I don't think I've ever met someone who talks so highly of God, but then in the same sentence and basically in the same breath talks about, I came into the world as a low vibration human. A lot of people who have this faith that's built out, and sometimes faith goes to religion, but it sometimes it tends to come forward and, in this glorifying, grandiose way, right? I was brought into the world. God loved me, and I had all things that I had need of. Bible talks of these things, and therefore I'm high vibration. Perhaps it's denial of just being okay with whatever vibration you came in with. I don't know what that ends up being, but how do you put, so someone who has a really strong belief in God, how do you connect that to low vibration, and what did you have to accept and be okay with in relation to how you saw yourself or the purpose you had here and how you could relate to God because of all of it? Because gosh, some people would say low vibration is less than what I want. I want high vibration.
Right. That's what I wanted.
Right. You want, right.
I wanted that.
To us, right. So, talk to us a bit about that.
Well, that's the great thing about grace is because when we surround ourselves with holy things, holy thoughts, the sacraments, the Bible, these are all things that will raise your vibration. The angels, just, having a relationship with your angels. I have 4 angels. I know them personally. And so I lately, kind of a strange thing, I guess. I mean, here I am, with a lot behind me and not so much in front of me, thinking that I just would really love to be next to the angels. I have this vision of me, okay, there's God, angels, singing, me trying to get up there so I can praise God with the angels. That's my, I think about that. And, but in order to do that, I need to raise my vibration. My low vibration is keeping me away from God. And when
talk to us. So yeah, exactly there. Talk to us about that. Because if you were created, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine your faith, the way you hold your faith, is you believe you were created in the image of God. Is it true? So if you're created in that
Yeah,
image and you were brought in low vibration, so
but
that's
I was I don't know if I'm a special case or if this happens to a lot of people. I don't know if I just made this up or God revealed this to me. I
sure.
don't know.
Yep.
But I think that I was out with God in the universe, this, spirit with a low vibration. I don't know how I got that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. And God let me come in so I could raise my vibration. That's what I think. And so
And
I mean,
because of that, and because so what we're
I don't
hearing, right?
have
Because
the
no,
I
I get
can't
it. You're,
fill it in.
no, well, and the thing is, sometimes when you fill it in, you destroy it. Like,
Yeah.
the thing is, what's the best way to ruin a great question? An answer. It's like, the thing is real when you can't really describe it. As soon as you can describe it, it's no longer the actual mysterious thing, because you've just pinned
Yeah,
it
I don't
down.
have that
It's dead.
information.
It's
It
dead.
was
No, the information. Well, I was going to say, perhaps
you
you want to
didn't
ask
tell
the
me
angels.
that. You want to
Perhaps
make
you
this
talk. Perhaps you talk to the angels and ask them that question. But okay, what I'd like to know is, or just kind of connect with and experience with you. So when you kind of tapped into, like, I think I'm a low vibration person, how did you raise your vibration? Like, you talk about Bible, you talk
Yeah.
about grace, you talk about all these things, but how did you raise your vibration? Because I mean, gosh, you were with, and I think you said his name is Ron, your husband Ron, right?
Yeah.
Ron, for 17 years. I mean, for many more, but you took care of him for
Yeah.
17 years. That's just
Yeah. We were
beautiful.
married 48 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Right. And
Yeah.
so, how did you
Mhm.
raise your vibration to allow you to not only support Ron, but support your life, support your 5 children, and then take you through PTSD? Like, that's a pretty incredible story. I mean, I'm hearing in the background that unconditional love was the gift of low vibration. So, there and again, like, we can't say low vibration is not a gift. Everything is a gift if we let it be. So,
Yeah.
how did you do all
You,
this? And how did you raise
the,
your vibration?
oh, well, okay. So I teach breathing, which raises your vibration, is transformational breathing, raise your vibration. And one of the things that our teacher
Mm,
just really wanted us to know a bunch of stuff, and she wanted us to know how to be a coach. And so I got this information from the coaching part about Ho'oponopono. Have you
mhm.
heard of that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like, I love you, which is I love God, God loves me, God loves the other person loves God. And if you can say it, I love them, they love me. But if you can't say it, you don't have to. I love you, I'm sorry. And it's not I'm sorry I did something, but I'm sorry the situation exists between us.
Mm,
And then please forgive me. And it's not forgive me because I did something, but forgive me for what's going on in me that caused me to attract this. That's the low
mm,
vibration I'm talking about. Something in me caused me to attract this.
mhm.
Thank you for showing me this so I could heal. And that just washes me. Thank you for
Mhm.
showing me so I could heal. Because if I didn't see that pain in my heart,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to heal the pain in my heart. So thank you
Mhm.
for showing me this. And I'm thanking that idiot that ruined my life. Thank you for showing me this so I could heal. Because I had a button here that you
Oh,
push, buddy,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you ended up with the big I love you, I love God, God loves me, God loves the other person loves God. Maybe by then you can say I love them and they love me.
Mm,
But it's a Hawaiian healing technique for the family.
mm,
And
mm,
so you don't even have to do it with the person. You can just do it by yourself and it still works.
mm,
Although
mm,
you can do it with the person. But yeah, so it cleans you. It's like we have uh, ties with other people, especially married people, have ties with other people, brother, sister, friend, whatever. We have ties with these people. And those ties sometimes are ties to cause us to grow, which isn't fun, you
mhm,
know?
mhm.
And so
That
um
right there is brilliant. What you just said, a lot of people, they find, well, I find anyway, like, I'm a strategist, or some people call me a master coach, but a lot of people, they're really proud. You can tell that they have growth at
mhm,
such a high level in their life. They're really proud of that, right? And so what you
mhm.
just said is growth. Oftentimes growth makes us actually experience pain. So
Yeah,
it's not this glorified warm blanket. It's beautiful. We're growing. It's like, I don't want to, but the very thing that has me not want to is what's going to break me through. And there, thereby I can ascend into a different way of being. Right. So sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead though. Yeah.
it's true though. What you just said is true.
Mhm.
And I often thought that about Ron and me, or Ron, yeah, Ron and me, because sometimes I would get my feelings so hurt, and I just thought, oh, God's knocking off my corners, making me smooth. And
Mhm.
I mean, that was my description of it when it was happening. I was like, oh man, you know, we pushed each other's buttons quite a bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how pushing buttons brings some tension, brings some life to the surface, brings
Oh
perhaps a little more
gosh.
growth opportunity, right? It is what it is. And I mean, let bygones be bygones. I think, the beauty of it, and I shouldn't speak because I can only imagine you come at things from a very different level. Your spouse is already gone.
Yeah.
I can say that in a way that if there's something that I poked Meg at yesterday or 5 years ago that I become aware of now, I have the luxury of going back to her now and actually just saying, hey, by the way, that just came alive for me yesterday. Are you still thinking about that at all? Or have we worked that through properly? But yet the final, when it's no longer, when the physical being is no longer there, talk to us a little bit about that piece. Like you talk about angels, you talk about this, and you have a little laugh, which I think is so precious, right? Right, right there, that little laugh. How do you go through um, these final or these moments that you experience, but you can't literally go to that physical person and make things right or ask, or how do you find the peace in all of this, regardless of whether they're here or not?
Well, Ron couldn't talk right before he was before he, for like 10 years before he died, he couldn't, maybe 8 years before he died, he couldn't talk. And he used to write things on my hand, and
Mm,
one of the last thing after he actually decided to go into hospice instead of getting a feeding tube because he couldn't swallow anymore. And one of the last things that he did, he took my hands in his hands and he said with his mouth, will you forgive me?
oh.
And yeah. And I said yes. And then I said, will you forgive me? And he
Mm,
said yes.
mm,
So we did it,
mhm.
and it was all of it. It was all of it.
That's
So
beautiful. That's
mhm.
beautiful. Wow, what a journey. So here's the thing. You went on one little walk, and it wasn't just a little walk, it was a
Mhm.
508-mile walk because you went the wrong way 4 miles the first day. So you had to kind of come back and do
Oh
another four.
yeah.
So 508. You came back for another go around. Why another go around? And what happened then?
Yeah, that I well, when I was done with the first Camino, I wanted to walk to Finisterre, the end of the earth. That's what you do after you're done with the Camino. And I was too ill. I had gotten sick on the Camino.
Uh,
And so I had to take a bus.
oh.
And so we had a bus driver who was a tour guide, and he brought us to the first place, and he told us a bunch of history about this place. And then he said, "Okay, you've been bit by the Camino bug. You will be back." And he was right. I got bit by that Camino bug, and in not next year, but the year after, I'm going to go do the Camino del Norte, which is across the northern coast of Spain, so along the water, along the northern coast of Spain, and then it goes down into the Primitivo and to Santiago.
What would you say this is all about for you? Like at this point in your life, you don't need to do it.
Yeah, I
Ron's been
think
gone for a while. Go ahead, right? So yeah, what
it's
is this?
about joy. It's about
Oh,
joy. Yeah,
oh. So meeting God in nature again, right?
yeah, yeah, and just being on a pilgrimage. Um, it's a holy, it's a spiritual journey. It's a holy thing. Yeah. And really I'm an artist, and I have a
Hmm.
degree in art, so I went to art history, that's what, and all
Mm-hmm.
the beautiful art there, it was just lovely. And it was comical too. I mean, it was just, it was lovely.
Why
So,
why would you suggest that each one of us go on at minimum one pilgrimage in our life? At minimum, one. Whether a person has faith or not, I, like you, I have a faith. I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I'm a Jesus follower.
mhm,
And so I love the stories of Jesus and the love. And I think the Bible keeps showing us how Jesus wrapped himself around unique situations in unique new ways and showing us that was the thing to do. Like, he had some laws, but very seldom did he say, you broke the law. It was more so like, well, let me first ask some questions. Let me understand where you're coming from. Well, you've heard it said, but I say unto you, go love your brother. Basically, it was always about love, always about love,
right.
always about love. Right. And so I think when we can return back to like the absolute place of, gosh, when you're a baby and you're sitting there in all your glory with no diaper, it's just you're totally happy. You're in a state of bliss. You haven't been
Mhm.
conditioned that there's this right or wrong. You're just experiencing and observing life. I think we come from the ultimate observer. I just look at it a bit like this. I think God, to me anyway, represents someone that would really appreciate if we could join him in observing the beauty of it all. And I think God's like a beautiful observer. And if we can rise above our story and if we can just observe it all, he's like, gosh, just can you take a breath in and can you pause for a second? Because
Mm,
when you do that, you begin to perhaps sing like the angels without any willpower. It just happens because you're just experiencing the beauty. You're not trying to control that this shouldn't happen or that should happen more of. You're just taking it in and you're kind of in harmony with nature, right?
yeah. Yeah. It's a gift that you give to yourself walking the Camino. It's a very special place. It's
Mm,
sacred time. Sacred time is, on
mm.
the Camino. Um, if a person didn't have very much time, you can just walk the last 100K on the Camino and you still get your Compostela certificate. Takes maybe some buff people could do it in a weekend, maybe 5 days, to walk the 100K. My friend Judy started in Lyon. She didn't start at Saint Jean. She didn't, she still had a job. She couldn't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had the rest of my life. And I actually gave myself 3 months. I just said, I'm not coming home till I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And after 2 months, I was like, yeah, I need to get out of here. I'm done.
Tell
So,
us one story if you don't mind, if you be willing, if you'd be open to this. Tell us a story, perhaps, yeah, and please, something that happened along the Camino when you were walking and you were invited to participate in a low vibration thought, maybe way of being that day, and what took you through it? How did God meet you there?
okay. So I was staying at first. I thought if I see a monastery, I'm going to stay there. I thought that would be so cool to stay in monasteries. So anyway, I walked into this town and there was a monastery and I went in there and they sign you in. They give you a stamp on your pilgrim passport. You give them some euros and they let you stay there that night. Um, and the guy never said you have to leave by 8 o'clock. He didn't say that.
Mm,
Uh, and he didn't say that to anybody. Okay. So the next morning, that night, I was so tired. I hadn't slept in 5 days because of all the snoring and all the albergues. That's where you stay in the
mm,
albergues. And I was just so tired. And this lady told me, just sleep in. He didn't tell us we had to get out by 8. Just sleep in and make your breakfast and enjoy yourself and then leave late. So that's what I did. And in the morning, I was in there making my eggs and zucchini and onions and things like that. And he came in and he started yelling at us.
mm,
And I was just like, well, I don't speak Spanish. And he was yelling in Spanish. And I'm like, okay, well, then I just kept making my breakfast. And everybody else just kind of left, and because they knew what he was talking. I knew what he was talking about too, but I was just like, leave me alone. And so I made my breakfast. I ate my breakfast. I started making my lunch. And he came in and his eyes were bugging out. And he said, and then he started saying, "You are ruining my life. I need to get home to my family. You're still here. I need to clean this place. You need to get out of here." And I was just like, okay. And so I put my lunch together, went and got my bag and, put my sleeping bag in my bag and this and that. And I went to go out and he was standing in front of the bathroom with the mop going this way and the broom going this way. And he was standing there right in front of the ladies' room. And he goes, "Out now." And so I just grabbed my pack and walked out. I'm really very careful not to fall, seeing as I'm an old lady. So I walked very carefully down the stairs and I just looking around and I couldn't see how to get out. And so I asked this lady and she told me, "Okay, go over here." So I went in the room and there was a bathroom in there. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went in the restroom. And when I came out, there was the guy standing in front of the bathroom looking at me. And he had his hand out like this. And I had some medals. I had some medals on a safety pin on my collar of my shirt. And I guess when I put my pack on, they flew off or something. And he found them and he handed them to me. And he looked really sheepish. And so I picked him up and I'm like, "Oh, where's St. Jerome?" One of the medals was missing. And so he went out and started looking in the grass for St. Jerome. And I was too. And then I said, "Oh, maybe St. Jerome's for somebody else, and then I left. But it was just like, I had heard that grumpy people on the Camino are there to cause you to grow. And I'm all into growing. So it was good for me, and so.
Perhaps you passed the test.
I guess so. But
maybe he's your fifth angel. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
That.
Right? Sometimes I know we can label so many things as being horrific experiences. Like we think about, gosh, when I think about Get Out, like a mop this way and a broom the other way, we're like, this is X
now.
Right? And then all of a sudden though, the person comes back and then they're holding the hand open like this. And there are these little tags in there and there's one missing. And all of a sudden that person is kind of almost helping us trying to find this.
Right.
It's like, wow, we're actually all trying to find something. And I don't know what this brings for you, but it's like, maybe we all have experiences and sometimes it's okay to love and to hate because the Bible doesn't say love or hate. It says love and hate. Like sometimes it's okay to not like certain things. I mean, the way it's expressed, obviously it wasn't too helpful for you, but anyway, gosh, that's really interesting. Well, what I love, and I picked up from the way you shared that story is, how when he told you out and you walked down the stairs and then you spotted another bathroom, you just kind of had a little giggle, a little smirk, and you're like, "Yeah." And I went into there, and and then so that's the lightness, right? So obviously, the heaviness was inviting you to participate with it, and you said, "I'm not really interested," and you just kind of, you kind of went. I wouldn't say went along with it, but you took instruct, and you thought, "Well, this isn't for me," so I'll nicely move down the stairs slowly, and there's a bathroom. I get to use it. Beautiful story. Thanks for sharing. That's incredible. So, okay. Last question. Where do you get all the energy from to be such a learner of life? Because obviously you learn a lot. Like you're an art person, but you pick up a lot. And it seems to me like you're not done. You're not.
Absolutely. I've got so much going on, man.
Tell us what you got going on. Tell us what you got going on.
I'm writing the book about Portugal, right? I wrote the book about Spain. I mean, the Francés, and now I'm writing about the Camino Portuguese. And I'm actually trying to learn real estate investing right now. And that's why I was on late today, because I was listening to them guys talk about that.
Oh.
But anyway, I feel like I just like I have this desire in my heart to live with a beautiful view of the ocean. I am an ocean gazer at heart. And so here I am in San Diego, there's the ocean, and so there's no way I'm going to get that house by the ocean if I don't do something radical. So I thought maybe real estate investing would get me there. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. I totally
Yeah.
get it. I totally understand. We personally own so we're real estate investors, and we buy
Uh,
strategic oceanfront property on the West Coast. And so we live in Vancouver here. And so I totally
uh,
understand there's not only a high market and high demand for it, but it does provide a certain style of living. And when you see the water, there's certain parts of fluidity that's really kind of nice, right? So that's really, and you have again, listeners, if you want to check out Kathleen here, you want to check her out. She's a wonderful human. No, her sweater is teal. There you go, the book. So let's bring that to the surface. But a teal sweater, and then your headphones teal. It's kind of aqua color. So I think the ocean's calling you. So whatever you can do
yeah.
to help you there.
Do
So
you
let's
see
help.
my walls behind
No,
me?
that's water. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So we'd like to help you get to the ocean. And how can we support you? Where can we find some of your work? Where can we tap into some? You're raising the book, Wisdom on the Camino. That's your
Yeah.
book, Wisdom on the Camino. And
It's
that book already is out, I presume.
yeah, it's a spiritual journey, sharing forgiveness and possibilities to inspire the rest of your life. And so you can go on Amazon and just buy the book, or and don't worry if you have Kindle, that's all right, because they pay me a royalty per page. So if you
There
get
you
it on
go.
Kindle, just read it, okay? That's how I
Just
get paid.
yeah. Just go click next, read, but
Yeah,
make sure you take it in.
yeah,
And so I want to put it to all you listeners. What I like each one of us to seriously consider, and I'm going to take this as a personal challenge. My wife has wanted to walk the Camino, and now I hear there's many Caminos, so I'll have to stress test Meg on which Camino she's actually talking about, or is she talking about all of them? But she wants
yeah,
us to walk the Camino. So I'm going to take
yeah,
that challenge for myself, and I'm going to challenge each and every listener to tap in and to ask yourself, gosh, how might it be beneficial for me to get closer to something of beauty, something that allows me to experience this existence that I get to take in, and perhaps get away from all the noise, so the signal inside of you can raise a little bit. Perhaps you're going to meet your first angel. I know, Kathleen, she says she knows 4 angels, and she's done the Camino twice, or at least
mhm.
parts of the Camino twice. So maybe every time you walk the Camino, you get 2 angels. I don't know if that's the deal, but there you go.
Yeah. I got him at home and I took him
Oh,
with me.
oh,
Okay.
that's
But I
beautiful.
wanted to say something I forgot to say.
Please.
Right across from the table of contents,
Mhm.
there's a page and it says, read this first. And it's like my gift to my readers. So
Mm.
everybody told me that I should put my pictures in my book. And I thought, well, it'll be $50 and nobody will buy it. So I have on my I made a website with portfolios and galleries, and each gallery has a chapter, and so you can just look at the chapter 1 and see the pictures. But I'm sorry you have to double opt in and get the password. But anyway, that's how things are nowadays.
No
So
problem. No problem. Thanks for staying on cue and on point with tech. There's another
mhm,
piece right there. Real estate investing, it involves many things. Tech's part of it. And
mhm.
thanks for being late, because we know you're onto something. You're onto
Right. I
you're
know.
moving. And when something is moving, something is alive. So thank you for being
Mm.
that moving, energy in our world today. Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And perhaps we'll do it again.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye-bye.
With inflation rates rising, interest rates shooting up, gas prices skyrocketing, and the continued global unrest, it's easy to find what's wrong in the world. Tony Robbins says, what's wrong in the world is always available, but so is what's right. Instead of trying to hope and wish the world into a better place, it's time to make the most important decision any of us can ever make, and that is to invest in yourself. Now, you already know that I've always stood with you as you've navigated the uncertainties of life's reality. However, it's now high time that I step up and take decisive action to walk alongside your current life journey by making myself available to you in a radically new way during these challenging times. For a limited time, I'm inviting you to a 45-minute strategic business life consultation at no charge and no strings attached. This consultation is where you'll regain the reins of your life. It's where you'll gain clarity on exactly why you're stuck, moving you directly towards your optimal outcomes. I'm humbled to say, however, my clients' generous reflection of their time spent with me reveals the truth. The skills they've been able to master in a short period of time by engaging in our one-on-one strategic sessions have changed their lives in so many ways. This is the only invitation that I can fathom that will put my skin in the game of your life in such a way that will allow us to address your specific needs with precision and excellence. 45 minutes, just you and I, together on a call to get you headed in the direction you crave most. Here's what my clients report after our one-on-one sessions. A decrease in indecision, an increase in clarity, confidence, and courage, an increase in fully being able to capitalize on what's directly in front of them, an increase in impact at work, on their families, and on their communities, a decrease in pain and suffering, and a decrease in anxiety. So, if you want to move beyond old stories, get clear on where you're headed so that you can shake your world, then here's a rich opportunity for you today. Simply go to www.jameshepner.com and stay on the page for about 45 seconds or so, and you'll see a little pop-up appear that will allow you to book in your business life consultation with me. This offer will expire and fill up. Maximizing this opportunity will set you up to reclaim and regain any of your inner power that has slowly been drawn down over these challenging times. And remember, if you want to stop the self-sabotage, raise your standards, and participate with unshakable confidence, you'll want to take the Maximize Your Life quiz found at www.jameshepner.com/quiz right now. My sincere hope is that you've gleaned a few nuggets for yourself and a few pieces of interest that help you move forward in your unique journey. So again, I thank you for joining me here. This is James Hepner clocking out. Until next time, peace out, rock up.